what is Medicare fraud?
Medicare fraud is an umbrella term that describes the various ways in which some healthcare professionals and providers can defraud the Medicare program out of funds that they're not entitled to.
And what are the most common forms of Medicare that you've encountered?
Yeah, so more common types include billing for services not rendered, billing using procedure and diagnosis codes that increase the level of reimbursement even though it wasn't reflective of the services provided. There's other types as well, paying kickbacks to doctors for patient referrals, and sometimes just blatantly copy-pasting documentation of the services provided. So it really encompasses a wide range of conduct, and it really depends on the facts, and that's why we recommend that if you encounter or if you believe you've encountered Medicare fraud, you speak to an attorney right away.
How do I report that? Should I go to a whistleblower law firm? Should I report that directly to the government?
Yeah, so of course there's different ways of reporting any fraud, but we strongly advise that you find and consult with an experienced whistleblower law firm that dedicates a major component or part of its practice in representing whistleblowers. And this is because every setting or industry is governed by a different set of rules and regulations, as you can imagine. And you need to be familiar with that regime in order to successfully bring and prosecute one of these cases. Brown LLC, we've litigated against hospitals, nursing homes, pharmacies, urgent care clinics, you name it, we've done it. And so we have that background, experience, and knowledge.
And what are whistleblowers getting from that? Like, why do they want to blow the whistle on the fraud?
Right, so under the False Claims Act, which is the primary statutory program that allows whistleblowers to bring claims and obtain an award, whistleblowers are entitled to up to 30% of whatever is recovered on behalf of the government. And not only that, the False Claims Act allows for treble damages, essentially a tripling of the harm that the government has suffered, in addition to tens of thousands of dollars in penalties per violation. And so, in theory, the potential recovery for the government and for the whistleblower can be very significant.
What is pharmaceutical fraud?
Pharma fraud is a type of Medicare fraud, and it describes the various ways in which big pharmaceutical companies, manufacturers of drugs and biologics, can harm not just patients, but government insurance programs like Medicare and Medicaid. And there's various examples of this as well. A very common form is off-label marketing. So if you have a drug product that's been FDA approved for the treatment of one disease or symptom, and yet a company might market that to customers and doctors alike as suitable to treat another condition. And that's called off-label marketing, and in most circumstances that is illegal. Another type of pharma fraud would be paying kickbacks. So especially if a pharmaceutical company has just developed a new drug, how do they market and sell that drug? The easiest way for them is to directly contact doctors and persuade them that this is the better product than what else is available on the market. Some companies take that a step further and pay doctors kickbacks or bribes. And it could be direct payments, it could be freebies or other free stuff, food even, trips, vacations. Some companies get quite creative here and will offer doctors speaker event engagements to pay them thousands of dollars that are, in essence, bribes for them to prescribe the drugs for their patients. And a third type of pharma fraud relates to the drugs themselves. So the FDA, in the FDA approval process, requires certain manufacturing and testing processes. And those processes are governed by standards called the Current Good Manufacturing Practices, or CGMP. And these standards govern everything from impurities testing for shelf life, the stability of the drug ingredients, the way the drug interacts once you've ingested it in the body, and failure to meet the standards set by the FDA and approved by the FDA in the new drug application, and yet distributing those failed drugs in the United States is a huge violation that can give rise to liability under the False Claims Act.